We're joined now by writer and political commentator Adam Schwarz. Thank you very much for being with us. What exactly will change in concrete terms as a result of this move by the British government?
Well, I think it has very significant impact upon Hamas's activities within the UK. So there are really two main sort of areas of focus to its consequences. So it makes it basically illegal to be a member of Hamas in the UK, and it also makes it illegal for anyone to basically advocate support for Hamas, including the use of symbols. So I think that is very significant in terms of anyone who wishes to engage with Hamas in the UK. But I think it could also have a significant impact on UK university campuses, where you have a lot of pro-Palestinian groups. So, and of course, if you breach any of these under the Terrorism Act of 2000, you can actually have a penalty of up to 14 years in prison, including a fine on top of that. So I think that the consequences of breaching these are actually is very significant.
Just for voicing support for Hamas, for waving a Hamas flag, something like that, that could potentially land you in jail for 14 years.
Yes, well, I think it's unlikely that if you just did that, that would lead to the maximum sentence of 14 years. But I think certainly those activities will become illegal, which I think, for a lot of Palestinian groups within the UK will have a big impact, because I think, that is something that we do see regularly at pro-Palestinian protests around the country.
And it could affect the group's fundraising efforts specifically. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, well, I think the fact that Hamas has had such a sort of a negative reaction, of course, to this really indicates how worried it is in terms of the impact they will have on its funding. I think particularly on its ability to transfer funds from and through the UK to institutions in the Gaza Strip, particularly, let's say, Gaza's Islamic University, which has been associated with Hamas, is effectively, any institution that's associated with Hamas will effectively be prescribed, so they won't be able to basically transfer funds through or from the UK. So I think Hamas is very much aware of this, and I think it's probably very concerned.
Why has it taken until now for the UK to come into line with the rest of the European Union?
Well, I think the timing is absolutely key. I mean, I think, the fact is the UK and Israeli relations have been stable for over about 10 years since the UK's Conservative government has been in power. But I think it's really important to look at this in the context of what's happening in UK relations, not simply what's happening in the context of Israel's relations with the Palestinians. In the last week or so, we've had a very difficult time for UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson due to a lobbying corruption scandal, but also a major U-turn in terms of the UK's policy on its domestic infrastructure and transport. So I think this comes at a time when the UK government is basically looking for a distraction, and I think the UK will have this sort of in its arsenal of things that it could do to distract. And I think it's particularly effective policy to try to bring up due to divisions within the opposition Labour Party over the issue of Palestine and Israel. So I think ultimately, as I say, it has very significant impact, just in terms of looking at it in the context of UK political relations.
And some say it's a decision that has been made to reassure British Jews. Is there any truth to that?
I think it's partly true. I mean, I think the Conservative Party certainly tries to voice support for Jews, trying to contrast from the difficult time that the opposition Labour Party has had with its relationship with the Jewish community in the UK. So I think this will have something to do with that, but I think it's mostly due to probably bilateral relations that Israel's had with the UK. There have been some reports since this was announced a few days ago that Israel's Shin Bet provided some key information to the UK's intelligence services that basically provided the evidence that the UK was being used as a kind of major funding hub. So I think those relations will be more significant in this decision than, let's say, the government's decision with the UK's Jewish community.
Adam Schwarz, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.